Welcome everybody to wisetake.com MMA DFS podcast. I'm your host, Jeff, aka Wigsplitter. Today we're going to be going over UFC Fight Night 118, Cerrone versus Till. But before we jump into that action, if you're not already a subscriber, head on over to wisetake.com and join one of the fastest growing communities. NBA and NFL are in full swing, and between now and the beginning of the year, MMA is going to be on fire. There's going to be a fight almost every week, or every other week, and it will be some amazing action. You can follow me on Twitter at JEFPO. You can also go and follow us at wise_take. All right, let's jump right into the action. Let's go over, before we go into the actual fight night, we're going to go over UFC 216 results. Ferguson versus Lee. I had 6 correct picks if we were doing pick'ems. I had 6 wins, 3 losses, and 2 draws. If Lando did not land the illegal knee on Green, technically, if you looked at the replay, it was his inner thigh that hit him, and it wasn't actually a knee. But the ref saw it as an illegal knee, took the point away, ended up in a draw. So 6-3-2 is not bad, but if you subscribe to the premium content, I had Paulo Botello, Stamen, and Schnell as my value picks. And those all came through and helped people get to the top of the cash line and cash fairly well. So let's, that being covered, let's jump into the current card, which is UFC Fight Night 118, Cerrone versus Till, Gdansk, Poland. The first fight on the card, we're going to start on the Fight Pass prelims. It's Josh Emmett versus Philippe Iranpour. Philippe Iranpour is 18-7-1 with 2 no contests. He's 7,100 salary, plus 260 underdog. Josh Emmett is 11-1-0. He's 9,100 in salary. He's a minus 320 favorite. Now, Philippe Iranpour is 2-1 in the, or 5-4-1 in the UFC. He has a BJJ base, solid submission skills, decent striker. The thing is he's actually moving up in weight. He has his last fight he actually had to pull out because he had complications with his weight cut. So the natural thing to do would be to move up a weight class, is what he did. Now Josh Emmett is a wrestler. He's 2-1 in the UFC, gritty, aggressive with his takedowns, and if you watched any of our other videos, takedowns equals points, striking equals points, ground and pound, passing. All these things, when it comes to building your DFS lineup, you want to look for fighters that have these type of characteristics. Now, Josh Emmett is the bigger guy. He's going to be cutting down in weight. So, his salary is a little up there. He's one of the higher priced guys on this card. He's a heavy favorite, which is understandable. I think both of their grappling skills may possibly negate each other, and it might turn into a striking battle, which I think would favor Emmett. But DFS-wise, I'm considering Emmett for my lineup, but I'm going to have to see how we can fit that in. At the same time, I usually don't make any final decisions on a lineup. I'll make a couple dummy lineups for entries. I'll make one dummy lineup is what I mean, and enter it into the contest I want to before Friday, and then as Friday comes on, I will go in after weigh-ins and then to see what kind of sharp money comes in on Vegas to see how the line's moving. And that'll help me finish my decision and any other type of research that I'm going to be doing between now and then. Let's move on to the next fights. We have Aspen Ladd versus Lina Landsberg. Lina Landsberg is 7-2-0 in the UFC or overall record. 7,400 salary plus 195 underdog going up against Aspen Ladd 5-0-0. 8,800 salary minus 235 favorites. Landsberg is a Muay Thai specialist. She's 1-1 in the UFC. Very aggressive Muay Thai striker, but she struggles against technical fighters. Aspen Ladd, she has a BJJ base. Very solid striker. She's making her UFC debut. She has an impressive ground and pound from the videos I've watched. Her salary is there. I'm a little leery whenever fighters make their UFC debuts. She's actually flying from the States to Poland, so I don't know how that's going to affect her weight cut or anything like that. I want to see how that goes. But I'd like to see if I could fit Ladd into my lineup. Landsberg, I could see possibly getting in there. The volume of strikes that she averages is 4 strikes per minute. She only averages 0.67 takedowns per fight, so you know she's going to want to stand and bang. So significant strikes equals points. Aspen Ladd has good takedowns, so it's possible takedowns equal points. So these are the things you want to consider when you're building your lineup. Let's move on to the next fight. We have Worley Alvez versus Salim Tahari. He's 10-1-0. Overall record, $7,000 in salary. At the time of this recording, there's no odds I could find. And Worley Alvez is 11-2-0, 9,200 salary. I'm guessing Alvez is, according to Vegas, will probably be a minus 240, 250 favorite. And I could see Tahari possibly being that kind of underdog, maybe a minus 200 underdog or plus 200 underdog. Tahari is riding a 5-fight win streak right now. He's making his UFC debut, fighting in front of his home country. He's riding a five-fight win streak, and 4 of them have been by KO. Now, those are the things you want to consider for a GPP. That's what I'm going to be considering for sure. Tahari also has a brown belt in BJJ, so it's not like he's a one-trick pony. He does have 2 victories by submission. But Worley Alvez is he's 4-2 in the UFC. Strong leg kicks with powerful knees in the clinch. Good submission skills. Currently on a 2-fight losing skid. So this fight intrigues me. Alvez's salary is way up there, 9,200. You're gonna have to find some extreme value in order to fit, a couple of these Vegas favorites into your lineup. So we'll have to see after weigh-ins on Friday and see what kind of sharp money comes in on what to help us figure that out. All right, moving on to the next fight, we have Artem Lobov versus Andre Touchy Fili. Artem Lobov is 14-13-1 and 1 no contest in the UFC. I'm sorry, overall record. He's 7,500 salary plus 140 underdog. Andre Fili is 16-5-0, 8,700 salary, and he's a minus 160 favorite. Now, Lobov is a striker by trade, kickboxing base, 2-3 in the UFC. He's a gritty, tough fighter. He's got a head like a cinder block. He's going to rely heavily on his striking. If you know, he trains with Conor McGregor, so he helped Conor get ready for his boxing match with Money Mayweather. so it's possible that his striking has improved. One of the funnier things about Lobov is he's got short arms. It looks like he has alligator arms out there, like a velociraptor. Not making fun of him. No disrespect to Lobov, but his arms look short. Going up against Andre Fili, 4-4 in the UFC, well-rounded, very good power, solid takedowns. I wouldn't say he's a brawler type fighter, but he does switch stances a lot. Can take you down. Takedowns equal points. He's gritty. He'll stand and bang, and I could see that possibly this fight possibly turning into a striking contest. And both these guys I'm considering for a cash or GPP lineup. Fili for sure, and Lobov I could see. Depends. I haven't really made up my mind completely yet. Let's move on to the next fight. We have Smiling Sam Alvey going up against Ramazan Emeev. Alvey is 31-9 in the overall record, 8,000 salary, plus 110 underdog. Emeev is 15-3-3 and 8,200 salary and 130 favorite. Alvey's 8-4 in the UFC. He's predominantly a counter striker. He's not very aggressive when it comes to his striking. I would say if you watch the Rashad Evans fight, I mean, that was a straight snooze fest. From a DFS standpoint, the only way I could see rostering Sam Alvey is in a GPP and if the salary fit. But his production from a DFS standpoint isn't high enough for me to warrant a roster. So I'm not saying Sam Alvey's a complete fade, but the other interesting thing will be to see if he can cut down to 185. I saw an interview with him, and he said he's roughly walking around at 205. So that's a 20-pound weight cut in 10 days. Emeev is a Sambo fighter. He's making his UFC debut. He's a former M1 middleweight champion. Very accurate striker. He's going to press the action, move forward. He will take his opponents down and work for a submission or do some ground and pound. So takedowns equals points. Significant strike equals points. So I'm considering Emeev for my lineup for sure. Alvey, I'm on the fence. I'm not going to make a final decision yet. Moving on to the next fight, we have Damon Stasiak, 10-4-0, 7,900 salary, plus 100 underdog, going up against Brent Keller, 17-8-0, 8,300 salary, minus 120 favorite. Stasiak is a karate base. He's 2-2 in the UFC. He's fighting in his home country. Very technical striker. Active striker. He averages 1.5 strikes per minute. He has 3 takedowns per fight. Keller, wrestler / boxer, 1-1 in the UFC. Gritty, aggressive, does have KO power, averages 3 strikes per minute, 3.6 takedowns per fight. Takedowns equals points, points equals, moving up the leaderboard. Salary-wise, both these guys are pretty moderate, so it's possible that they could fit into your lineup. I want to see how my lineup build goes. I'd consider possibly both of them. The line's pretty close, so it's almost a pick 'em. But I could see Stasiak with his karate base, keeping the distance, possibly keeping it a standing fight. Or, he's got a BJJ base as well, so I could see him going to the ground, working for a submission. Keller, same thing. So it's possible both these guys could work into a lineup or two. All right, so let's move on to the next fight. We have Anthony Hamilton going up against Adam Whizzer. Hamilton is 15-8-0, 7,600 in salary, plus 115 underdog, and Adam Whizzer is 8-1-0, 8,600 salary, minus 130 favorite. An interesting note, an interesting note about Hamilton is after his last fight, where he was knocked out in like the first 30 seconds, he announced his retirement. And then it wasn't soon after that, he came out and said, okay, the freight train is not done. You know, there's one more ride. So I think he's still pondering retirement. I think this is probably his swan song. Probably going to want to go out with a bang, or he just wanted that extra cash to finish out his career. But he's a striker. He's 3-6 in the UFC. He's got a wrestling base, so he's going to have the takedowns. He has according to his fight stats, he does have a high strike output as long as he's in there, 4.47 strikes per minute. Now, going up against Adam Whizzer, he's a striker/grappler making his UFC debut. Powerful striker, strong takedowns, shown to be durable, and he's fighting in his home country, so he's going to want to put on a show against a guy who's pretty much walking out the door already. So he might want to help him along. I don't see this fight going a long way. I could see this ending pretty quick. But I am considering Whizzer for sure. I just don't have confidence in Hamilton. But we'll see how the roster build goes. Whizzer's salary is pretty high. And, anytime heavyweights are in the ring together, anything could happen. So moving on to the next fight, we have Marcin Held going up against Nasrat Hapkarast. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Held's salary is 9,400. He's 22-7-0 overall record. He's a minus 440 favorite. Going up against Nasrat Hapkarast, 8-1, 6,800 in salary, plus 350 underdog. Now, Held is 0-3 in the UFC. Since coming over from Bellator, he's struggled. He's a high-level grappler and an average striker. Averages 2 takedowns per fight, 1.4 strikes per minute. Going up against Nasrat Hapkarast, he's a striker making his UFC debut, currently riding a 8-fight win streak. He's only 22 years old, and his wins have either come by KO or TKO. Now, in a GPP standpoint, I'm rostering Hapkarast not only for a salary relief, but with the possibility of a KO or an early TKO. Those points you're going to get anywhere between 100 and 140. And that's going to be enough to help you get up there into the leaderboards. So I can see possibly rostering Hapkarast. Held 22 or 9,400 in salary. I believe he's the second highest salary on DraftKings, so it'd be hard for me to roster him at that price. That's like Demetrius Johnson type lineup money, and I don't see Held with that type of skill level, so I'm not sure about that one. We'll have to dive into that. Now moving on to the main card, we have Jonathan Wilson going up against Oscar Pakoda. Wilson is 7-2-0. He's 7,300 salary on DraftKings. He's a plus 160 underdog going up against Pakoda. He's 9-0, 8,900 salary, minus 185 favorite. Wilson is a striker. He's 1-2 in the UFC. Aggressive. Wilson is he's a very aggressive fighter. Moving forward, he's always going to look for the knockout finish. He averages 4 strikes per minute. Not necessarily going to take a guy down. He's actually dropping down from light heavyweight to middleweight for this fight, so I want to see how his weight cut goes. Pakoda is a kickboxer / grappler. He's making his UFC debut. He's also fighting in front of his home country, which he'll have the crowd on his side, probably help pump him up. Very patient fighter, and he has above average knockout power. I'm going to have to do a little more research on this guy. I'll probably watch a couple more videos just to get a little better feeling on how I want to, if I want to roster either one of these two guys. But that this fight slightly intrigues me from a rostering standpoint. But if I was going to roster Pakoda, I'm going to have to do a little more research on that one. Wilson, on the other hand, is intriguing for the salary relief. And if his weight cut goes well, I could see possibly fitting him in for value in a GPP. All right, moving on to the next fight. We have Jan Blachowicz, 19-7-0, 7,800 salary, plus 140 underdog, going up against Devin Clark, 8-1-0. 8,400 salary, minus 150 favorite. Blachowicz is looking to press. He's fighting in front of his home country as well. He's 2-4 in the UFC. I say he's got average power. From what I noticed, it seems like he has cardio issues. 3.3 strikes per minute, 1.17 takedowns. He has average takedown defense. Devin Clark is 2-1 in the UFC. He's very athletic, wrestling base. He has improved striking, very good takedown defense. He's going to stand and bang as well. He averages 3.6 significant strikes per minute, and as well, and he has 2.58 takedowns per fight. Takedowns equal points, significant strikes equal points. So I'm considering Devin Clark for sure. Well, depending on the how the roster build goes, but I can see Devin Clark and possibly Jan in a lineup. Now moving on to the next fight, we have Karolina Kovalkova. She's 10-2 and 0, 9,500 salary, minus 470 favorite. Going up against Jody Esquivel, 6-2, 6,700 salary, plus 375 underdog. Now, Karolina Kovalkova is 3-2 in the UFC. She's looking to probably put on a great show in front of her home country. She's coming home to fight. She's a solid striker, very active striker, 4.49 strikes per minute. Very solid takedown defense at 85 takedowns defended per fight. But I think she's going to be comfortable wherever the fight goes. If it goes to the mat, I could see her possibly, passing guard and then getting into, ground and pound situation. Now, Esquivel is she's a striker. She's a former NABF title holder. She's coming out of Invicta. She's a smaller fighter, not by much, only a couple of inches. She's going to probably want to keep this fight standing since she does have a boxing base. She's making her UFC debut. I don't see Esquivel for the salary. It's intriguing to try to fit her in. I'd have to watch a little more video to see if she's going to be able to keep this fight standing, and if she's going to be able to keep it or have it go the distance. But Karolina's salary is pretty high up there. Almost a free square, but I'm going to have to dive a little more deep into it. Now moving on to the main event, which is I'm really excited about, we have Donald Cerrone, 32-9, 8,500 salary. He's a minus 150 favorite, going up against Darren Till. He's 15-0-1. 15-0-1, and he's plus 7, or his salary is 7,700, and he's a plus 120 underdog. Now, Cerrone is 19-6 in the UFC. He's had some amazing fights with some high-level opponents. He has a kickboxing-based Muay Thai striker. He's finished 16 of his opponents by submission. He's currently on a 2-fight losing skid. But going up against Darren Till, who's a Muay Thai fighter, 3-0-1 in the UFC. Very well-balanced fighter. Insane leg kicks, solid knowledge of BJJ. He actually moved to Brazil so he could learn the craft a lot better. Both these guys are high-level strikers. Both of them have very high outputs. So I could see this being a battle. I would like to roster both these guys. I might make a Cerrone lineup or a Till lineup. Because both their salaries are, Till's salary is a little more workable. And then also Cerrone, his salary isn't too bad. But this is a very good fight that you would want to put together. You should have decent point output. And that's it for UFC Fight Night 118, Cerrone versus Till. Don't forget to jump on Twitter and follow us at wise_take. And follow me at JEFPO. And don't forget to smash that like button and hit the subscribe button. And we'll be looking forward to seeing you guys in the chat. As always, be safe out there and have fun.
Yeah.